Our top story here this morning, authorities say they found no survivors in a small plane that crashed in the East County neighborhood. Yeah, this happened last night in an unincorporated area of El Cajon, a residential area, but thankfully no one was on the ground near the scene. No one was hurt there. News 8's Chris Groh joining us live where this investigation is getting underway this morning. What's happening now, Chris?
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Ned. And what's happening now, NTSB, the FAA, they'll be in charge of the investigation to figure out exactly what happened. And there are still a lot of unanswered questions at this time this morning. But real quick, let's show you this video which shows the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of this plane crash. You can see the fire and the chaos, the first responders getting out here as quickly as they could. Again, it's a miracle no one on the ground was hurt, but unfortunately we don't know how many people were on board the plane. That's one of those questions that we don't have an answer to. We also don't know where it was coming from. Again, we do know that it was about to land at Gillespie Field, which is right around the corner, and San Diego County Sheriffs did confirm that there were no survivors. Now, as for the damage in the area, debris scattered obviously on impact with the plane crash. One home was damaged, but about 2,500 homes lost power because of the crash. So that was sort of the larger impact, if you will. Now, most of the homes have power back, but neighbors were scared and shocked. They had no idea what happened. Take a listen to some of them describing the scene.
It started shaking, lights went out, we ran looking for flashlights. My husband comes running out here, he ran down the street, I'm trying to find him.
I walked out of the garage, went out the backyard, and there was just a giant fireball no more than like a few yards out from my backyard. It was insane.
And again, we are waiting to see if we will be receiving an update this morning from the NTSB, FAA, or even the San Diego County Sheriff's Department on exactly what they may know new this morning. We are still waiting on that. Now, as for those power outages, you can go to CBS8.com, click on the help button to find out if, again, you are still impacted by that outage or nearby in this area. You can get the latest on that there. Eric and Netta.
All right, Chris, thank you for the latest, and stay with News 8 for updates on this developing story. You can also find the latest at CBS8.com, the News 8 app, and on our social media pages. Well, the latest winter storm hit our area at the time of the plane crash in El Cajon, but it's still too early to know if the weather played a role in this.
Right. Now, this is video of the rain in Oceanside last night. The storm also brought snow to our mountains. In fact, it's snowing right now. So let's take you live to Mount Laguna. There it is, the Mount Laguna Lodge right there, that camera on their roof, and yeah, blowing sideways snow, piling up on the rooftop.
Yeah, last time we looked at this, it was several inches shorter, I feel like. So it's continuing to blow down, and it's getting a lot thicker out there. Let's check in with Dana Marie and see what kind of totals we're looking at.
Well, we're looking at a couple of inches regardless of where you are. So above 3,000 feet, you're seeing 3 to 7, and then 7,000 feet, about a foot of snow. So those areas of snow resorts are very excited for this, as it means fresh powder, which is very cool. I just love to see that fresh snow for all of us who don't usually get to see this. So conditions right now in San Diego across the board, we're waking up to 52 in San Diego, 49 in Oceanside, 46 in Poway, and 53 in Chula Vista with a little bit of precipitation right now. You're waking up to some light scattered rain. We did see the bulk of our storm yesterday around 8 to 10:30, but right now, as you can see, just a little bit of green on your screen from this area, remnants of last night's storm. We'll take a closer look at our San Diego area and maybe areas like Chula Vista, scattered rain showers. But as we take a closer look, this is what the snow is looking like right now. So it's currently snowing in Pine Valley, maybe a little bit in our Julian areas, Borrego Springs. So if you do head up to those mountain areas, send us your photos of that newly fresh, beautiful snow. In terms of your 5-day forecast here, we do have some rain on the way, a new storm system pushing through Wednesday and Thursday. That rain will become a little bit warmer, so snow totals up on the mountains may not be as high moving into the weekend, but as you see your Saturday, a beautiful sunny start to your 2022. Now, in terms of traffic, there is a lot to talk about this morning. There are a couple of closures on the road as well as crashes. So take a look. This is what we're looking at first. So this is on 67. There's an accident at Scripps Poway Road, California 67. So if that's part of your commute, take note of that. We're getting note that one lane is now closed going north. So then we have another accident here on the 8. It says right-hand shoulder blocked due to an accident westbound at exit 6B and the 805 exit 17B. So that's here right in San Diego for your morning commute there. And one more accident to note this morning. There is an accident on S6 highway and Lake Drive and also Rancho Bernardo Road. There's a lane closure due to construction, but that's been there for a while, so you probably know if that's part of your commute. There may be a little bit slowing there for you, but we're going to check in all morning long to see how those accidents progress, if there's even further backups on those freeways. Eric?
Dana, thank you. Now to the latest on coronavirus. The CDC is changing the guidance on who needs to isolate or quarantine after coming in close contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah, this may impact a lot of people, employees as well. Here are the key notes that you should know. People with the virus are most infectious in the 2 days before and 3 days after symptoms develop. Second to note, CDC is cutting isolation restrictions from 10 days now down to 5 days. This is for people actually infected who test positive. At the end of 5 days, if you have no symptoms, you can return to normal activities, but wear a mask at all times for the next 5 days. If you have symptoms at the end of the initial 5 days, the CDC says to stay home until you feel better.
So what if you come into contact with someone with COVID, but you're not infected? Well, if you're boosted with the vaccine, you can skip quarantine if you wear a mask in all settings for at least 10 days. If you're not boosted, you should quarantine for 5 days and see if any symptoms pop up.
Good explainer right there. Now, coronavirus numbers surged across San Diego over the holiday weekend. County health officials reporting just under 1,700 cases. That was Friday, more than 1,200 on Saturday, and then more than 2,600 on Sunday. COVID hospitalizations are now back over 400, with 95 patients in intensive care units. 3 new deaths, bringing that total now to 4,445. COVID testing is in high demand right now, as many of you may know, and we are seeing these long lines outside testing centers all across San Diego County. Health officials say the current surge that we're seeing is actually from Thanksgiving gatherings, as hospitalizations lag behind 1 to 3 weeks. Doctors note that while the Omicron variant of COVID is more contagious, most develop mild symptoms, but you should not let your guard down.
This is the largest surge of COVID that we've seen since the beginning of the pandemic. Our test rates are higher, and we're seeing more positive results on a daily basis than ever before.
Experts do say your best protection against COVID is getting vaccinated, getting your booster shot, and wearing a mask in public. And as we just mentioned, in many cases, the Omicron variant's symptoms, they're milder than those of the Delta variant. So how can you tell the difference between a cold or COVID? This is on a lot of people's minds. So we're going to have more on that coming up here for you at 6:14.
Happening today, sentencing is scheduled in the federal case against the man convicted of opening fire inside a Poway synagogue 2 years ago. 1 woman was killed and 3 others were injured. He's already been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 137 years to life in the state's case. This stems from the shooting and arson of an Escondido mosque a month before the Poway attack. Sentencing is scheduled at 9 this morning. An Escondido police officer is out of the hospital this morning after being shot following a freeway chase that ended in a shootout. We brought this to you as breaking news yesterday morning. This all started late Sunday afternoon with a 911 call about a shooting in Vista. A 42-year-old man was found dead outside of his home. That led to an hours-long pursuit with the suspect, 39-year-old Roberto Cazares Salgado, who was shot and killed by officers while returning fire. As for the suspect's motive for the earlier shooting, police say it was personal.
This wasn't an act of random violence. It was targeted. It was intentional.
The officer who was shot was wearing a bulletproof vest. Again, he was treated at the hospital but has been released. This morning, negotiations are set to resume between Republic Services and the union representing hundreds of trash workers on strike. Negotiations fell apart last Friday. The strike is in its 2nd week, and mounds of trash are growing in several communities. Republic Services is now asking customers to haul their trash to local landfills. People can drop off their trash at the Otay and Sycamore landfills between 7 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. daily. Well, football will be played at Petco Park for the first time today. It is time for the Holiday Bowl.
Yes, it's going to be quite a historic event here. Celebrations kick off with the Holiday Bowl parade. That's happening this morning, starting at 10 a.m. So it's at the County Administration Building downtown, right along the bay. Thousands of spectators expected to line our streets to see the marching bands. Those beautiful decorative floats, I mean, they're impressive, and plenty of performers.
It's the largest balloon parade in the country. We'll have about 11 bands. We'll have 25 or 30 specialty units, a couple floats in there to keep it exciting. So it's going to be a great hour of parade coming down Harbor Drive between the County Administration Building. Then it's going to turn left on Broadway and go to Pacific Highway. We think it's going to be a spectacular finish there on Broadway.
What a cool route, right? Harbor Drive down Broadway. It's going to be beautiful, but also cold. So, of course, bring, big puffy jackets with hoods, perhaps, because, yeah, weather, may not be as typical San Diego weather people might expect. So after the parade, all eyes will be on the big game as UCLA takes on North Carolina State, and that will be at 5 p.m.
Lots of Bruins fans excited here today, that's for sure.